Hello there everyone and welcome to a new review on the channel, and today we will be looking at another Penguin Live lecture and another one that's been heavily discussed, and that is the Rick Maue Penguin Live lecture. This is a unique lecture, different to a lot of them, because its focus is not necessarily on the tricks. It's more focused on how to build a persona, how to do a show, how to write a character, how to connect with your audience, how to tell a story, how to make your magic emotional and impactful, and so much more. So it's different in that regard, and it's still a very good watch. Even though it's not packed with tricks, it does still have a few that are very good and may want your attention. So let's roll the intro and dive straight into the review. Perfect, so you decided to stick around, which means you want to learn more about the Rick Maue Penguin Live lecture. So what is this lecture? This lecture is essentially focused on how to build a story with your spectators, how to build a rapport with your spectators, how to build a connection, how to make them care, how to make them invested, and how to make your magic part of you, not make them have the magic and then you be a part of it. The magic is part of you. The magic is part of your life. The magic is part of your everyday things, of your stories, of your memories. And that is essentially what he is portraying in this live lecture. Now, in terms of effects that I could perform for you, there's not many, because these effects are mostly parlor effects. They're not necessarily close up, and I don't also have spectators. A lot of them require spectator byplay here. So I can't really do anything for you from this lecture, but I can tell you the effects that you will be learning on top of all the theory. So first, regarding theory, you're going to learn how to build a character, how to build a persona, how to make magic emotional and interesting, how to be a storyteller, how to engage audiences, how to get audiences engaged on your side, how to kind of make your magic foolproof so that it never fails, how to choose effects for your set, how to know if an effect is good or not, how to make people involved in the buildup of your effects with like freedom, but not fully freedom, if you get what I mean by that. So there's a ton of theory here. And that's most of what you're going to be getting here. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But theory-wise, that is what you get, okay? Then in terms of effects, you're going to get 4. Technically 5. The 5th one is an addition that George Tate tells him to talk about. But first you're going to learn a heads or tails routine. Very simple. Heads or tails. You'll have a prediction in an envelope that you rip open. You show heads or tails. Easy as that. Second effect is called intermission. It's an effect about memory, an effect about compliance, an effect about not needing to speak in order to get compliance or to get someone to do something. The scripting in this and the thinking behind it, chef's kiss. It's incredible. The effect, ultimately so simple, basically self-working, but the routining and the thinking behind it, incredible. So essentially what happens is 2 decks of cards. A spectator chooses one for themselves, one for you. You shuffle your you shuffle your deck, you place it on the table. They shuffle their deck, they give it to you. You remove a prediction from their deck, place it on the table. You then start talking to them about memory, etc., etc. They say stop at 1 card. You then proceed to do a few experiments with them, and then you show the cards match. Very simple in premise, very simple in operation, but a great effect nonetheless. Then you're going to learn my personal favorite effect. It's a huge effect where people name different things that they can visualize within their house. So they're going to name a bunch of stuff. You make a list. From the list, a few items are chosen. The items are then written on pieces of paper by audience members, placed inside of envelopes. Then you call someone that's not even in the room. Any spectator can call any family member, any friend, any relative. They could be in another country. That person is going to start eliminating the envelopes one by one without even being in the room. The envelope that is left is opened. The name of the object or thing is revealed, and then you show that that was predicted from the start, or you can do a direct mind reading as to what it is, but you can show that it was predicted from the start, okay? So that's my favorite effect because of operation, thinking, etc. It is fantastic. Then the last effect is a continuation of the heads or tails because of the methodology. It's kind of bank night with poker chips, where you're going to have some aluminum foil things with poker chips inside. Specters get to eliminate them. The last one that's left is essentially one that you didn't manage to predict. So the specter actually wins money, but then you show them that, you know, you always meant to give them the $50 because you knew that at the start they were going to name whatever it was, heads or tails. You're going to show them that they ended with the red chip from the first effect, and that in the last effect they chose the blue chip, which caused the chips not to match, which is what you had planned from the start, and you just wanted to ensure that they leave the show with something, which is why you made sure for them not to match so that they can actually match your prediction and walk away with a prize. So that is a fantastic way to end the show as well. People actually walk away with a prize. You can do it like him, $50. Personally, I don't really have $50 every show to give away to my audience for free. If it's a big paid show where every single audience member pays, like at a theater, yes. But in usual gigs that I do, probably won't give them 50, but you can give them any gift. You can buy them a small box of chocolates or whatever you want. You can actually give them a prize. The routining is fantastic. And also, this is built like a show. So you're going to learn how to do the effects one after the other. They actually have coherence. And then the last effect that he will teach you is his stab routine. So his smash and stab. He says that he hates that effect. It's one of his most despised effects. And he hates everything about it and everything about danger effects. But he does tell you that if you want to do it, he gives you his method that he used to use years and years ago. Okay, so that is what you get in terms of content. So now let's talk about where you buy this and how much this does it cost. You can buy this at Penguin Magic exclusively, since it is a Penguin Live lecture. It will set you back $39.99 USD, which is around 50 Canadian dollars. And what you get is a close to 4.5 hour download that will go over all the theory and all the effects that I've just explained, as well as an hour and 15-minute show. So you're gonna get to see the entire show from the first second all the way to the last second that he does with those effects. So 4 effects for him is a show that is around an hour 5, an hour 10 minutes, which is crazy to think about that only 4 effects do that. But he really does focus on the storytelling and on the rapport with the audience, as you will see. It's really interesting to note how you can actually do magic that way through storytelling much more than through effects, and how powerful it can actually be as well. So that is everything that you get. You're getting over 5 hours here of video content to unpack with your purchase. Now that we've discussed all that, let's talk about practicality. As I said, a lot of this here is theory. So a lot of it is theory based, and I won't unpack that for you. Go ahead, buy it, and he will talk to you about the theory. I'm going to just unpack quickly the effects and their difficulty and etc. So in terms of the effect that you're going to learn, they are pretty much self-working, super easy. He does what he says his foolproof methods, or he he dumbifies every single effect just to make sure that if ever he forgets something, if ever he misplaces something, if ever in the middle of the routine he misses something, that he will always be able to get to the end by foolproofing his effect. So everything here is technically super easy. The hard part is putting the patter, the interest, the poignancy, the storytelling, the persona, the character, the development that he does with these effects. Not a lot of people will be able to. Am I able to? Probably not. I probably would not be able to make these tricks justice as he does. But can you adapt the tricks to be your own and put your own story, your own personal things to them? Absolutely. So that's where the difficulty is going to come in. It's going to be constructing a routine and a story based on the effects, okay? In terms of practicality, most of the effects are really packs flat. The chip effect, you just have to carry around 5 tin foils with chips, so it's probably this big. The heads or tails, you just have to carry around a pay envelope that's pretty much this big. The TV routine, you just need a few pay envelopes, a small board, and you need some blank pieces of note cards. And then for the deck effect, you just need 2 decks. So all of this could easily fit into a very small carrying case, and you can have all the effects really packed small. There's not much gimmickry involved or anything like that. There is for some effects, but it's all super easy to make, super easy to do. You can do it in seconds. It is very relatively easy to make. So in terms of carrying capacity, it is pretty pack light. In terms of angles, Most, if not all of the routines are 360 in terms of angles, in terms of inspectability, because of the nature of the effect. Pretty much everything is inspectable. Plus, it's a stage slash parlor slash cabaret type effect, so no one really is going to inspect anything that you have on there. So there will never be the need to inspect. But even if there is the need to inspect, nothing here is really gimmicked to the brim that it will not be inspectable. Maybe the chip effect at the end, that would not be, but the cards, the heads or tails, the TV effect could probably be to some degree, not really completely inspected, but it would never need to be. In terms of reset, the reset will take time. They are stage pieces. These are not designed to be done table hopping. So the reset will take time for the effects in order to do them again. And lastly, do you need a table? Yes, for half or basically 3 of the 4 effects, you need a table. Except for the heads or tails, all the other effects do need a table in order to be performed, okay? Now, where would you perform these effects? These effects are to be performed in stage, parlor, or cabaret. These are not close-up effects. These are not mix and mingle, restaurant, virtual magic, social media effects. These are made for a sit-down stage show where you perform for everyone at the same time. So, you can adopt them to closer scenarios, like all of them can be adapted to closer settings. Of course, like a small parlor setting of 10 or so people, you can easily do that. But I would never do any of these effects, table hopping, cocktail, mix and mingle, weddings, kids' birthday parties, or anything like that. They're designed mostly for adults in a former slash, professional parlor-ish setting. Now that I've mentioned all of that, because there's not much effects here, there's a lot of theory, and I don't want to tell you all the theory, you'll have to go buy it to learn it. But what are the positives and negatives? Well, one of the negatives for some people could be that this is going to be eye-opening, because he does critique a lot of things that we all do. Some of it I do myself, so I was like, oh, I kind of do that. Some of it you will agree with, some of it you won't agree with. So, he's pretty adamant on his stance, but he also understands everyone else's. So that's something that you can learn. It's going to be eye-opening for some. And if you're someone that's easily offended by someone saying that maybe your style of magic is trash, well, maybe this is not the best lecture for it. Of course, that's not what he does. He does, give you ideas and he say it's fine if you don't agree. But it is very eye-opening in that I used to do something at all time with my scripting. All the time I used to do it, and he's like, just think about what you're doing when you do this. Is it actually smart? And I was like, I've been doing this for so long, and he's actually so right. Like, that sounds so bad when you actually re-listen to it. So it can be eye-opening a bit. And also, if you're someone that just wants tricks and tricks and tricks and tricks and tricks, and you're not someone that's into philosophy of magic, theory of magic, character building, scene building, storytelling, the maybe 5 or plus hours of content you have here will not necessarily be for you, because as I said, the effects are not the best or most amazing effects you've ever seen, but they are really well constructed. Okay, so that could be something for you. It's not negative for me. I love this lecture, but it could be for you. But in terms of positive, it's extremely poignant. You get live performance. George Tate, or Patrick Redford, as his stage name, asks very interesting questions. He doesn't interrupt. He has incredible respect for Rick Ma. He's super polite, so he brings conversations forward. He brings ideas forward. It's a very nice listen. It's very well filmed, very, very well produced, very informative, very impactful, and very eye-opening as well. So because of all of this, would I recommend this lecture, and what do I give it out of 10? I would heavily recommend this lecture if you're a stage performer, cabaret performer, parlor performer that wants to make their shows based more on creating magic through story and through their experiences in life. That's what he says, is that this show is based on him. What they're seeing is his life with effects in them. And if you're someone that's interested in going that way, I heavily recommend. If you're someone that's just interested in doing quick visual magic, table hopping, or anything like that, because that's fine. Some people are passionate about doing restaurant work, table hopping, and all of that. So they're not interested in building a character through story and to do a heads or tail effects that last 12 minutes, where in the end, you just say, you've chosen heads. You know, some people are not interested in that, and that's completely fine. So if that is, you know, not your area, you can probably invest in other Penguin Live lectures that will suit your needs more, like the Sam Huang lecture, which I'm also going to be reviewing soon, which is going to suit your needs much more than this one. But I do recommend it if you want to learn some theory, some character building, and some storytelling. I'm giving Rick Ma's lecture an 8 on 10. It was a very enjoyable watch. It was cool. It was informative. It was passionate. It was really, really interesting to get into his world. I personally was unfamiliar with his work, but I was really drawn by his storytelling and his calm demeanor and his persona. It was just fantastic. So I really enjoyed it. I'm giving it an 8 on 10. If you have any additional questions, leave them down below. If not, I will see you all in my next review. Have a good one, and bye-bye.